Okay, this is the engine compartment of a 1968. First year for this body design. Corvette. It's a small block car. It is not a numbers matching car. It is definitely a small block. I don't know the exact configuration. It could be a 327. It could be a 350. I really don't know. It is new from the oil pan to the air cleaner. Everything has been addressed in this thing. The engine's been out. It has a high volume oil pan on it, a deeper pan on it. It has a Holley carburetor on it as opposed to the Quadrajet that this would have come with had it been a 300 horse 327, which was the last year for 327s, 1968. But everything appears to be correct on it. The intake manifold, the exhaust manifolds, does have all the plug shielding that is appropriate for these vehicles, and everything lines up just the way it should. Correct radiator shroud, aluminum high flow radiator laid down the way they came. The correct alternator for this guy. New master cylinder. You can see that that's just been replaced. A dual stage master cylinder. Does have power steering. Does not have power brakes, nor does it need them. These are four-wheel discs on these vehicles. They came out in '65 with four-wheel disc brakes, and they were just an exemplary design. These have all been reconditioned. This car is pretty much new from the bottom to the top, to the front to the back. Really a great car. No hit body. There's no cracks or anything on it. It has all the original bonding strips in it. When you get underneath this vehicle, which we'll do a presentation, you'll see that the car has absolutely no trauma whatsoever in its life. It still has the original fender panel shields in the front. There's no leakage whatsoever on the engine. Absolutely none. None on the valve pan covers, the intake manifold, the timing chain cover, or anywhere on the top of this motor. New silicone plug wires on the vehicle. You can't really see them. They're underneath the shrouding, but I just put the shrouding on, so you'll see that you don't have to take my word for it. There's a set of high silicone plug wires on it. Again, everything in this engine compartment presents itself as it was in 1968 when the car was released. Even the 327 300 horse designation on the correct 14-inch unsilenced air cleaner. Overflow tank is just where it should be. Your vacuum pots that actuate the wiper doors, still nice and fresh, has cadmium plating on it. The headlights function as they should, which you'll see all of this in our videos. But at any rate, this thing is a small block, 1968 Corvette, no hit body, and just an absolutely undisrupted car from 1968. It's got an exemplary paint job on it, and we're going to go around it and show you all that. So there's the motor. Got something kind of unusual. We usually don't do Corvettes. We have very few of them through our lifetime here in Daytona. But this is one we had to get and present to you because it's a nominally priced one, and it's just an exemplary car. The car has been reconditioned from top to bottom, front to back, inside out, and it's a no-hit body. It's all fiberglass, comprised of 36 panels. All the bonding strips are still intact. We're going to go over it and just show you every little thing that we can find on the vehicle. The paint on this thing is to die for. I don't know. There's no cloudiness whatsoever in it. Usually on these Corvettes, I grew up with these things, and the fitment of these usually leaves some to be desired, and especially in this area where the hood comes up and transitions on to the fender. And look at this fitment. It cannot possibly get any better. An 1/8 of an inch gap the whole way around it. Same with your headlights in the front. Look at this fitment. Corvette flags. Look at the fitment of these headlights. It's just unbelievable. And the fitment of this hood. Again, look. Lines up just as nice as you'd ever want. And this paint is just like a foot deep. It doesn't have any cloudiness, fogginess, imperfections, marks, chips, dings, nothing. It's as nice as you'd ever hope to find. Bumper fitment in the front is spot on. You cannot fit that bumper any better than it is on this car at this point. And the chrome on it is absolutely like new, because it is. Trim around the front grill area. and the center. We do have the license plate holder that kind of covers up the center plastic grill, and I put it in the hold in the back behind the glove box, the area behind the seat, passenger side. New spoiler across the front. There's no cracks or breaks in the fiberglass valance in the front. Marker lights, just the way they should be. They weren't amber in 68, they were clear. And usually where this is deteriorated, this chrome, this stuff is just as new as it could possibly be. Front end of this car is just exemplary. You're not going to find one that fits any better or has better paint on it or better character than this guy does from the front. Let's go down the side, see what we can show you there. Okay, paint on the side of our Corvette. It's unusual. Usually I'm up here showing you the car, but I got to get down here now. These guys are a lot lower than most of the other vehicles. Obviously, we're not going to look for rust. Look at this fit. This is just unbelievable, especially for a Corvette. Look at this. That cannot get any better than it is. It does have the correct wiper arms and blades on it. This is vacuum actuated. It actually pops up and moves forward. The wipers do their trick, and then when you're done, wipers quit, it closes, game over. VIN, just as nice and clean as can be. All your interior appointments are new. Everything in the interior of this car has been replaced. It's all new, which we'll show you in the interior section. Of course, these lids come out, and there's also two bags for them in behind the seats also that are new in the bag yet. That they haven't been used. They're replacement ones, but they are new to house your T-tops. The dashboard itself, there's no cracks or deterioration or marks or fade or anything on it. Just as clean and clear as you'd ever hope to find. Wipes whiskers are new. Trim around the front window, just as nice as you'd ever want to have. There's no marks on this. It's really not a drip rail, it's just a trim piece here, and it's stainless steel. Window fitment to the rubbers is just spot on. New door handle, 68 only for the push knob. Correct style mirror for 1968 on the door. And fender fitment to the door. Look at this. Wish you could feel the paint on this car like I do. It's like running your hand over satin. And the fitment is just really exemplary. Very seldom do you get them every once in a while, Corvettes that fit this well. This is one that does. It's really a great, great car. Wow. Back window, which does come out. Trim around it is just as nice as you'd ever want to find. No leakage whatsoever. The sail panels, the paint on this car everywhere is just, it's just absolutely spot on. Could not be any better. By the way, there's no broken pieces of fiberglass, and it's all the original fiberglass that was produced with the car. It does have a set of aftermarket, I'm going to call them mud flaps, stone chip flaps, whatever you want to call them, deflectors. But we left them on simply because in 68 and 69, the fenders rolled under. In 70, they did come out with a flare on both sides to help compensate for all that trash that gets thrown up off the roads that ultimately chipped the paint behind the front wheel and behind the rear wheel. This, you won't experience that because of the deflectors that are on it. They're not original, but they're functional as hell, so I guess they stay unless you want them off. Correct style antenna for the car. Wheels on this car, I believe, are 8-inch. Might be 7s in the front, they're definitely 8s in the back. They got some huge rubber on the back of this guy. All 4 tires are new. They're not worn at all. There's just zero wear on them. Whatever mileage I put on them, that's what's on them. Rocker panel molding, there's no dents or marks in it. It's just as clean as can be and correct for 1968. Correct hats, tall hats in the center of this. The way they were released by Chevrolet in 68, it was the only one you could get other than a hubcap, which really looked ridiculous. It was a multi-spoked hubcap. Didn't fit the characteristic of the car at all. But that's the driver's side and the front end. We haven't found a single chip, mark, scuff, deviation, panel that needs adjusted, nothing. Let's go out back, see if we can find something there. Okay, back into our little Corvette here. Of course, our Astro ventilation type system that they have exits out back here, comes in the front and comes out the back. So you have nice airflow through the passenger compartment. Gas filler lid, just as nice and clean as can be. Even the chrome around here, which is usually deteriorated, is not. Corvette flags on the back, of course. And I wish you could see this paint. It's tough to see in the video, but there's not an imperfection in it. Absolutely not a single one. It's just an exemplary paint job on this car. It could not possibly be any better. Tail lights, again, absolutely as new. The anodized aluminum around them or stainless, I can't really tell what it is. Corvette designation. Across the back, no patina at all. Lenses clean and clear, just the way they should be. Bumper on this side. Again, there's two bumpers there, and they both fit precisely. There's no way that you could get this fitment any better than it is there. Tail lights nice and clean. Exhaust tips coming out. They're much larger than what should be. Those are supposed to be about half that size. But someone's put an exemplary exhaust system, which you'll see in our undercarriage presentation here. The license plate frame area in the back, show you. Usually these things are all deteriorated because they're pot metal and they're chrome plated. This one is not. It absolutely is not. It is as new. And those are stainless tips on the exhaust. Flawless back end on this car. I can't pick out one little tiny minute imperfection in the car so far, front, side, or back. We got one more side though. Let's see what we can find for you there. Okay, our last side, passenger side. Again, all original fiberglass. This car has not been bumped or distressed in any way. Absolutely none. Again, the top fitment, you can see just the way it should be. The trim on the side of the, where's that? I don't know what that is. Whatever it is, it's coming off of the thumb. It's something black. I don't know what. Maybe when someone was doing something with the undercoating or something, I don't know. But whatever it is, it's coming off of the thumbnail, so can't be too bad. Again, the wife's whiskers on this side. Just as nice as you'd ever want to find. Fitment of the window, spot on. Door handle, flap, and button, both just as clean and clear as you'd ever want. Nice fitment of the door to the quarter panel. Same thing with the front. What a paint on this car, it's amazing. Chevy Astro ventilation designation there. Tinted windshield in the front. Trim around the window itself is just as nice as you'd ever want to find. Door to the front end of this car, as nice as you could ever fit one. Again, no chipped out fiberglass or areas that have been repaired or replaced. And back where we started. 1968 Corvette, small block car, 4-speed car, it's 3-pedal car. Car you can have a lot of fun with and not spend a lot of money on it. It's going to be cheaper than any Camaro or even cheaper than any Chevy Nova that we have in the building. It's just a fantastic piece of American history. It's the first generation body style for this generation of Corvette. All new mechanicals, all new tires. We're going to show you the undercarriage, the interior on it. We went around this entire vehicle. There's not one stone chip, mark, scrape, scuff, panel alignment issue, absolutely nothing. This is as nice a 68 representation of a Corvette that you could ever hope to find. Devin and I just went over the whole vehicle, showed you every little tiny thing we could find, which was nothing, and pointed out a little tiny bit of paint there on the, I don't know what, somebody's fingers or something had some paint on it, but we'll knock that off and it should be fine. But the car itself, the fitment, the finish, everything is spot on. Chrome is all new. The fitment is, like I said, absolutely spot on. We try to present these cars to you as best we can. We show you every little tiny imperfection that we can in the time allowed to put these videos up. We're up to about 35, 37 minutes on a lot of these videos. That's longer than most television programs right now, but we're trying to show you everything in the event that you can't come here to our facility, which we encourage everyone to do that so that we can present the remainder of our inventory. We got 80 cars on the floor, always for sale. So this is one of them. So there's about 78, 79 other ones hanging around here that you can take a look at too. This is the only Corvette that we have at this point. If you can't make it, that's why you got to watch this video. We're going to present it as well as we can. And if you have any questions, any further issues that you want us to address, take some more defined photos off, or give you further information, that's why the phone's there. Give us a call, and Devin can take pictures, or I can answer any questions you have in reference to the vehicle. So check it out. It's here at Hanksters. It's the only Corvette that we have in the building right now. All right, we're in our only Corvette in the building, 1968. It's a coupe, removable lids. Everything in this vehicle is as new as you could hope to find. There's a little more of that black stuff, whatever the hell that is. It's a little bit, there's a little bit on that edge in here. Somebody had some black goop on their fingers, and probably when they were putting this on, that's what the heck it is. All new rubbers in the doors, all new seals around the windows, sun visors, no stitching coming loose, nice and resilient and padded just the way it should be. New liners for the removable lids. New interior, brand new seats in the front, and they are the correct General Motors style basket weave inserts in these seats with the correct style pattern vinyl on them. New door panels, so there's no cracking or deterioration whatsoever on the edges of them from age, the way it would be. And again, the dash pad the same way. There's absolutely no deterioration on it. None. Wood grain style wheels with the tri-spoke splits on them, the Chevrolet flags in the center, horn that works. Interior lights, they all work. Both kick panel lights are functioning, as both side sail panel lights are also on. Everything in this car works as it should. It has this is not factory, but there's your original seat belts that clip onto the side seat belts. Pad there for your arm, though, if you want it. If not, you can take it out and throw it out back. But a lot of guys put these on. It's a little more comfortable to rest your arm on. It has the original instrument cluster in this car, and every gauge is just as clean and crisp as it was when it was put in new. The tachometer, which functions, speedometer that also functions as it should. This is your wiper door actuation. It has 5 gauges on the dash, fuel, temp, oil, fuel, temp, oil, amp, and a clock that's working. Can you believe that? The clock is actually working, and this has the original radio, and if I remember correctly, that guy works too. The LED lights also work in this vehicle. They actually weren't LEDs. They were light transfer tubes. They were light tubes that they came out with in that era. It has the original rabbit ear shifter in it, 4-speed. I drove the car. It feels like it has about a 330 rear end in it. Certainly something you could use on the highway if you needed to. The loop pile carpeting, which is also new. I think the kick panel carpeting is original, but the floor carpeting and the rear carpeting is new. The console doesn't have any tears or marks or anything on the vinyl. Everything lines up as it should. This car is as new a 68 Corvette as you're ever going to find. All the chrome on the doors, the trim on the doors, the handles themselves are just as nice and original as you could possibly hope to find. Everything on this car is just the way it was in 1968 when it left the factory. A complete fresh motor in it. We're going to show you the undercarriage, which is really exemplary on this car. And you got yourself a really nice Corvette here. The original mirror, which is a day-night mirror, and there's no fade or milkiness whatsoever. Wait a minute. Yes, there is. A little bit on this side. There's a little bit of fade on this side, driver's side, and a little tiny bit on the passengers too. But it's original mirror. You wouldn't replace it. You can't see it anyway. It's a great car inside. Great color combination. Everything has been renovated. So you're basically getting a new 1968 Corvette for a really reasonable price. Check it out. It's here at Hanksters in Daytona Beach, Florida, and it's the only Corvette we have in the building. Okay, we got whole bunch of stuff happening here. We got a horn that works. Fuel gauge, it's almost empty. I know we got to put some fuel in this thing. Temperature just starting to come up. A clock that is working. You believe that? A clock this old working. Thing's over 50 years old. Oil pressure holding nice and high. Battery charging just like it should. Tachometer functioning just like it should. Turn signal indicator left. Just working away there, showing us we're turning left. Another one for the right. I don't know. Let's go for a ride, see how this guy runs. Car, nice and tight steering, typical Corvette. Got a nice steering resolution to it. Let's see, no hands on the wheel, going down the road straight as can be. Let's see how it stops now. There's a guy coming, but stop, no hands. Shifts real well, shifts like butter. Very, very nice, tight running car. Can't ask for a much nicer running rig than this. All the gauges where they're supposed to be. Speedometer working just like it should. Sounds good, got a nice exhaust system on it. Completely reconditioned 68 Corvette. Real nice, there's no wear on the steering wheel. It's a nice car. Nice tight car. Nice inexpensive car too. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with this thing. Okay, you're in Hanksters. We're underneath our 1968 Corvette, the only Corvette we have in the building. This is it. Really, really nice car. This thing is a no-hit body. It's never had any trauma. It's never been any accidents whatsoever. All the frame structural pieces are all just as they were in 1968 when it was made. New bushings on the sway bar. There's new shocks in the front. Looks like nice fat rotors on it. New calipers. The tie rod ends, I believe, are original, but they don't appear to need replaced. They definitely have the grease fittings on them. Yeah, the ball joints are still good. The engine, you can see, has been out and completely addressed. It does have a deep pan on it. It's probably about an 8.5 quart pan. I'm going to say maybe even a 9 quart. Drain plugs here. There's absolutely no leaks whatsoever on this engine. It's a small block. I don't know the exact configuration, but it runs well, and it's new from the oil pan to the air cleaner. Everything has been addressed. Everything's been bored, decked, and done. It's a nice, fresh engine. Full perimeter frame on this thing, and it's a box frame. They really went overboard whenever they made the Corvettes as opposed to the Chevelles or the Camaros, which are just subframe cars. Chevelles are a C-channel frame. This is a full box frame. A lot of rigidity here. Even the cross-section that ties the two side members together is a huge piece of box channel that goes through the center of the vehicle. I'm going to call them 2 1/8 pipes coming off the cast iron exhaust manifolds, which are the correct manifolds for this vehicle. Bell housing area, you can see that there's no leaks whatsoever on it, and it has a new clutch pressure plate and throwout bearing in it. Everything is new in there. M21 Muncie transmission in it. I don't know if it's close or wide, but it is a Muncie, and it shifts like silk, just like butter. 2 1/8 going into 2 1/2. There's some nice fat pipes here that go back toward the rear of the vehicle. I'm losing my voice. Go back toward the rear of the vehicle. The pans in the front are the correct pans. Most guys remove these. This is still intact and still original to the car. All your grounding straps that are brass are still intact and functional on this vehicle. Fuel lines, brake lines, all original and just the way they were when they were new. Absolutely no broken places on your floor pans in the front or the floor pans in the back. Everything on this vehicle is just the way it was when it was new in 1968. Nice addition here. It does have an X-type crossover here that gives you the benefit of the same thing Mopar did with the H-pipe. Just a little better design. It's a little more modern design. Very functional. It gives you a heck of a lot of flow in the exhaust system in comparison to just two separate pipes. The frame, again, you can see how strong they made this car. It's got a full frame on both sides, plus a crossover here, plus a crossover here. And there's one more in the back here yet too that we'll show you. Parking brake is still hooked up and functional. Drive shaft has new U-joints on it. Parking brake has a new cable assembly there, the turret for it. I can't tell if these pipes are stainless or if they're galvanized or coated pipes, but at any rate they're new. It's a nice sounding exhaust system. It has a couple of Flowmaster mufflers on it, new shocks in the back. Of course, four-wheel discs at a Corvette, that goes without saying. New calipers also in the back. Rotors are nice and fat in the back just like they were the front. The shocks are relatively new in the back also. Your storage compartment areas, fiberglass, still just as nice as they'd ever want to be. Your transitional spring that houses the suspension for the back is the transverse spring is just nice as fresh. There's no broken leaves or anything in it. Your radius rods, which are adjustable for your caster and camber in the back, along with the swing arm assemblies. Swing arms where they go up into the chassis. Absolutely no deterioration, no rust at all. Absolutely none. No indication that there ever was. Everything is just as nice and clean, as fresh as can be. These frames were very, very stout, so even normally on some of these vehicles, the Camaros and Chevelles and everything, we always point out that they have jack marks here or there, or places where the jack stands were held in place. And these frames were just so thick and so structurally strong that you very seldom see anything on a Corvette where a jack was. The half shafts, new U-joints on them. Everything is just as nice and clean. Also, the rear differential, independent rear suspension on these vehicles. The rear differential is a posi unit, and it has no leaks whatsoever, absolutely none. Even the back part that's mounted to the frame, another structural piece that goes across the whole vehicle from side to side, is over there behind the rear differential here. That's another structural tie-in for this thing for structural rigidity. The well for your spare tire has no cracks or chips or anything out of it. There is a spare in it. I haven't had it down to take a look at it to see the condition, but it does have a spare tire in it. Again, Flowmaster mufflers in the back. Nice fat set of pipes coming out. They're much larger than what Chevrolet intended for this vehicle way back when. I think they came out with about a 2 1/8 inch pipe out the back, and these are at least they're probably about 3.5 inches, maybe even more than that. They're at least 3.5 inch stainless tips that go out the back. Really looks good. A huge set of tires on the back. Cobra GTs, and they are absolutely gigantic on a set of 8-inch Corvette wheels. The ones in the front are a little bit narrower, but a completely new round of rubber. So you've got all new brakes on this thing, all new rotors, calipers, 4 brand new tires, a whole round of rubber on it, completely new exhaust system. You can see that there's no leaks whatsoever. Everything is fresh in the drive line. There's absolutely nothing that you have to do to this vehicle other than put some gas in it and go for a ride. Have some fun with it. It's a nice Corvette. It's very nominally priced. It's the only one we have here at Hanksters. It's a nice color combination. It's completely renovated. There's no wear apparent on anything, on the paint, on the interior, in the drive line. It's a nice tight car. All the gauges function. You'll see when we do the interior presentation here before we go for a ride. It's at Hangsters in Daytona Beach. Take a look at this guy because you can have a lot of fun with it for a little bit of money.